Aitah for no longer talking to my mum. Sorry, this is going to be a long one. Bit of background is, my mum raised me with my occasionally seeing my dad on weekends. She has health issues and is a functioning alcoholic. By this I mean she makes it to 5 p.m. and as soon as this time hits she starts drinking and will drink as much as a box of wine a night. On a weekend it's usually between 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Instead, this will be relevant later. My mum was diagnosed with cancer at the beginning of the year. She was our main childcare, and while she was getting poorly my sil and mum started helping us out. My mum was looking after them from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on a Sunday. I appreciate this is a long day, but the kids are in their home with all their toys and plenty of food and drink stuff. My mum had been doing this for 34 weeks when the incident happened. One Sunday had returned home from work and found our daughter 5 running upstairs crying and screaming, and my mum screaming shouting in the front room about how she needs to apologize and needs to come back downstairs now. My follows my up the stairs to find out what's going on, and she says she's been smacked. She was holding her back, so my checked her and found a red mark suspiciously in the shape of a hand mark. He called me straight away at work to tell me what happened. While on the phone my Ring doorbell picked up my mum storming out of the house, shortly followed by my stepdad, who was confused on why she had stormed out. She was refusing to say goodbye to the children and had left my son 3 downstairs in his own without letting anyone know. She then sends me a message saying she's not happy, to which I responded I am not either, and I want her to inform me what on earth has happened within the next 30 minutes. She then calls me about 3:30 p.m. from the shop she buys her wine, saying she really needed to get to the shop before it closed, as shops in the UK close at 4 p.m. on a Sunday, and now her tone is calm and collected, asking what was going on. I was confused because only moments ago on my doorbell she was furious and stomping about. I informed her what my daughter had said and instantly she switched again. This time she was shocked and was asking for a photo. She wanted to go back to my house, but I told her not to and that I would call her later. I called my husband back to say I'd spoken to my mum and that we would discuss it later on, and was generally just checking on my daughter to make sure she was okay. During this call my mum has shown back up at the house. Her face on my camera was very hard and angry. She bursts in and is demanding to sort this out right now. I speak to her again and my stepdad and ask for a bit of understanding to what had happened. They said my daughter was doing cartwheels on the sofa and she had kicked my stepdad in face while she was doing it. I suggested the hand mark came from the reaction of being hurt, but they denied it. This did explain why my mum was screaming that my daughter had to apologize when my husband got home. My mum at this point started telling me the house was too hot, the noise was too loud, and my daughter was just not listening. She's also suspected to have ASD and does so silly things and maybe doesn't listen as my mum expects she should, so I agreed those were all probably very difficult, but she was a grown-up and knows how to open a door or window and to turn a TV down. To this my mum just started sobbing down the phone and left. After work I was visiting my mill in hospital as she had been fairly poorly at recent, and then I had a small gig I was attending in town. I was on FaceTime to my daughter while at the hospital. She was happy playing with her brother and dad. My mum and me have each other locations shared, which again is relevant in a minute. That night I went home, had a chat with my husband about what was going on. We decided that looking after the kids was too much and she would no longer do it, and that was the end of it to us. My mum was still in our group chats, seeing invites to things and updates on the kids. My mum about 23 weeks later sends me 3 texts late at night after she's been drinking about how we've broken their hearts, that I disappointed her, that the fact my husband went to our daughter instead of to her was why she was mad, and that they were not bad people. She then deleted these messages in the morning when she woke up, but I had already saved them guessing this would happen. I had already written a response but wasn't going to send it till the morning because I refused to speak to her when she's drinking. I wrote a very lengthy message outlining everything. I asked to clear up anything that didn't make sense, asked why she felt I should be listening to what my daughter was saying, as she felt me taking the word of a 5-year-old was ridiculous, and highlighted the fact she had to rush off to get her wine that day might have also been a playing factor to why she rushed off in a mood and then came back. I pointed out that she was still in the family chats, still completely in the loop, and she was the one who wasn't engaging, that from now on she wouldn't be needed for childcare as I think it was just too much for her. She responded 13 hours later at night saying how she expected an apology because she is my mum. How she was being accused of her grandchild and how my husband should have dealt with this better. She finished the message off by then attacking me, saying how difficult I've made being grandparents, how I didn't go home after the incident and went to see my poorly Mill, so it couldn't have been that bad, and how because I didn't have my mum with me at the birth of my daughter it was just me and my husband. I've been horrible to deal with. She says at this point she's tried to keep quiet and couldn't do it anymore. My mum has failed to keep anything quiet at any point. When I announced my first pregnancy she asked me what I was going to do about it. As if I hadn't been trying for 2 years. During my pregnancies she was horrid and we stopped talking both times. She's always putting me down and making nasty digs about how I was handling things or what I was doing. I blocked all her messages at this point. Removed her from socials and removed the location sharer too. I unblocked her because she pays for my phone bill. My phone stopped working a few days after we fell out this time, so I assumed she had cancelled it. That was fine. I was happy to take out a new contract and cut the tie, so I messaged her to let her know and she said that she would get it fixed, and she did, but these conversations were all in the day and then I left her unblocked after. She then messages me 4 days later saying she's removed the car seats and she's taken them to my nan's should I want them, and said nothing else. I ignored the message because I wasn't sure what it was she wanted from me, as I've got plenty of car seats for my kids and anyone who has them, just like she did. During the next amount of time that passed, my father's dad was diagnosed with cancer and I was asked not to say a thing to anyone, which I did. My mum then messaged me to have a go at me for not telling her. My parents haven't been together in 27 years and I was following instructions from my dad to not share, and I hadn't been given an update either, so she actually knew more than me. She sent 10 messages over the course of 2 days which I was still not responding to, as it was just, why wouldn't you tell me? Everyone is unwell and you're nowhere to be found. I don't have a relationship with my dad really, let alone any of his family, who had nothing to do with me when my parents split. One of the messages she sent said, sometimes you have to bite your tongue and do the right thing. Be the bigger person. I responded asking if she was trying to say I should be a bigger person or if she was being the person messaging me. She said she was stating facts. I pointed out she's spoken to me terribly and that she is just continuing to do so. She said I hadn't been in contact and I should be reaching out to everyone. I don't see why I should be reaching out to my dad, who didn't feel he wanted to update me on the situation, and why I'd bother with my mum after everything that was being said. I told her that actually I had spoken to my dad and stepdad at Father's Day and that it wasn't actually any of her business who I talked to or when. She told me phones work both way, which then had to point out I knew because I had phoned both of them. And again, this is how I knew she had been drinking at again. This was 7 p.m. She then sends 7 messages about how my dad is obviously busy with his dying father, how she doesn't want to argue but this whole thing is devastating. I responded saying I wasn't really invested in any of this. That the things that have been said, the way she's handled all this and the way she's telling me how to behave as a 30-year-old woman with a house and 2 kids is not something I am game for anymore. I've spent my entire life being told I have to apologize to adults who did things wrong to me as a child. I've spent my adult life scared of upsetting people and always pushing my feelings and emotions to the side for others who will not do the same for me. This entire event has shown me that I wasn't happy with things a really long time before this, but was being told I had to get on with it because it wasn't an option. My mum would never attend events with us as a family, come on holidays, and would actively go on about how much she dislikes my husband's family. They were just never really involved, and when they were it was awkward and they would be so rude. My daughter has a speech delay and they would make fun saying, what, we can understand you. What are you even trying to say? And she would get upset. I ended up laying a lot of those feelings on the line at last to my mum and was like, I can't do this anymore and do want to. It's making me unhappy and it's making the kids unhappy. One of the last messages she sent was trying to say my daughter is a liar, how she blames her non-verbal brother for silly things like drawing on a wall or throwing a toy, and saying because of this I should be taking what she has said about being smacked seriously, as she's a liar. I gave my mum a warning not to continue down this path, as this was not something I think she will be able to come back from if she keeps going. She then responded saying, you're pushing my limits, I have a new love now and it's not you. And your children are a joint second. I blocked her again at this point as the conversation was going nowhere. It was 8 p.m. and I was sick of spinning in circles with her. This week my nan called and asked why me and my mum weren't talking. I told her of everything above. She tells me I should talk to mum and fix this and let the kids see her. My kids haven't asked for my mum once since April when this happened, and I don't really want to see her to her either. My nan then says that she's mad because her daughter is hurt, just like I was mad my daughter was hurt. I pointed out that her daughter has hurt me too, but no one seems worried about that. Nan then goes off to say that she can't do this anymore and that I am the issue and I have to fix it. She will not hear anything I say or tell her and just keeps telling me there is 2 sides to every story. She also asked why I would let my husband accuse mum of her grandchildren, and when I said that never even happened, it's something mum has made up, she just huffed at me. My husband hasn't been involved in any of this since he initially walked in the house due to the fact it's my family. And my mum's also tried to blame the fact he was hit as a child regularly for the reason this has happened too. What do I do now? And Aitah here. I don't want to fix things with my mum. I am happier without having to deal with her nightly drunk messages and the lack of care or interest she has about me or my kids, but now it feels I've been given no choice by my nan. If you made it this far, thank you.